She conquered her demons and wore her scars like wings. There is more wisdom in an inch of hard-earned scar than in a mile of easily earned knowledge. As long as the wound doesn't kill you, there is the potential for greatness. There is pain there, sure, but it's the kind of pain that sculpts a heart into wholeheartedness, that unleashes a mind into open-mindedness, that hones a soul into a thing sharp enough to cut God. Just as the grain within the oyster can be transformed into a pearl, the pain within the human can be transformed into strength. Wounds can become wisdom when we allow ourselves to be curious about how our scars have made us who we are. Truth is a staff rejected, unknown. Henosis, according to Plotinus, is a concept of attaining ecstatic union with the One or the Infinite. Like enlightenment, it is not a platinums, but an essence that can be dipped into, but never maintain the nose. No, mine loosens the soul's grip on the phenomenal world and allows one to taste the noumenal. This tasting is an ecstatic, mind-altering, soul-shattering experience that forever alters the way the soul ego perceives reality. The world as self and self as world concept thus becomes self as God and God as self, where Meister Eckhart's words, the eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me, becomes self-actualized. In the end, even Henosis must be surrendered, even Buddha must be killed on the path, even enlightenment must be let go, for impermanence is the only true permanent, and the soul must breathe. Indeed, enlightenment is less a state one achieves and more a humor one aligns with, less a fixed state and more a flexible journey that we must, above all, allow to evolve without containment. Never disrespect the small one. One day a hare was being chased by an eagle in panic. It ran to the only creature nearby who had always stood by its side, a small dung beetle, its close friend. The hare
air begged for help. Though tiny and powerless, the dung beetle still stepped forward and said to the eagle, "Please, spare my friend." The eagle did not even pause in its eyes. The voice of a creature so small carried no weight. It brushed the beetle aside and took the hair anyway. Then it flew away, proud and certain that nothing so small could ever matter. But that was its mistake. From that day on, the dung beetle did not forget it could not match the eagle's strength and it could not match its speed, but it had something else: patience, persistence, and purpose. Wherever the eagle built its nest, high cliffs, sharp rocks, hidden ledges, the beetle kept finding a way up. And each time the eagle laid eggs, the beetle found a way to make them fall. Again and again, the ruler of the sky kept losing what it wanted most. At last, the eagle became afraid. It flew to Zeus and asked for protection. Zeus agreed to keep the eagle's eggs safe in his lap. But the dung beetle still did not give up. It shaped a small ball of dung, flew upward and dropped it onto Zeus. Startled, Zeus stood up at once to brush it away, and the eggs fell. Only then did the eagle understand. It was not brought down by a stronger enemy. It was undone by its own arrogance. Life lessons. One small does not mean harmless. The people you ignore today may become the consequences you face tomorrow. True respect is never wasted. A brief moment, not heresy or restraint, can prevent years of regret. 3 persistence can outlast power. Strength may win fast, but steady pressure often wins in the end. Before pride clouds judgment, many people create the very problems they were too arrogant to notice. Business lessons. One never dismiss small risks in business. Serious damage does not always begin with a major competitor. Sometimes it begins with a frustrated customer, a junior employee, a weak signal, or a small voice you thought did not matter. Arrogance creates long-term cost. Many leaders think winning the moment is the same as winning the future. It is not one careless decision or one act of disrespect can create resistance that grows quietly over time. The overlooked often see what the powerful miss. People at the bottom usually notice details that people at the top stop paying attention to. That is why wise leaders listen downward, not only upward. For a company, a team, or a leader rarely collapses from one giant blow. More often, they are weakened by repeated small losses that were ignored for too long. True wisdom is not just power. It is foresight, self-control, and knowing when not to turn a small problem into a lasting enemy. The deeper truth is simple. The eagle did not fall because the beetle was powerful. It fell because it believed power made respect optional.
something went quiet. There was a point where something shifted and I felt it happen. Not dramatic, not the kind of moment you will point to and say everything changed. More like something familiar stopped showing up, and I noticed its absence before I understood what it was. Writing used to come with a kind of pull. Hobbies had a current running through them. There was movement, even when I did not question it. I could sit down and begin, and something would carry me forward. That part is quieter now. I keep checking for it like you check a switch that used to work. Flipping it again as if it might respond the way it always has. Nothing is wrong with the switch. It just does not control what it used to. Like something was off. Like I lost motivation or drifted away from things that mattered. That explanation is convenient because it gives you something to fix, but it does not actually match what this feels like. It is not that I do not care. It is not that I cannot do the things I used to do. The pressure that used to drive them is not there in the same way. The urgency has softened to the point where it no longer pushes me into motion. So I find myself sitting there, aware of the gap, aware that something changed and unsure what to call it. Tried to label it lack of motivation, burnout, disconnection. None of those land clean. They all feel like attempts to close something that is still open. There is a kind of quiet here that does not fit into the usual category. That quiet makes everything feel flatter. Not empty in a Jacotic sense, just stripped of the extra weight that used to make things feel important, urgent, necessary. It is uncomfortable in a way that is hard to explain, not painful, just unfamiliar. Because so much of what I did before ran on that invisible pressure to improve, to say something meaningful, to keep moving forward. Now I am sitting in a space where none of that is shouting at me. And I am noticing how much I relied on it. This is the part that does not get talked about. What happens when the thing that pushed you stops pushing? There is no collapse, no crisis. Just a quiet gap where something used to be. I do not have a clean answer for it. I am not writing this from the other side. I am writing this from inside it. Not knowing what to call what I feel. Not sure if anything is missing or if something finally stopped being added. Just noticing that something went quiet and seeing what is still here without it.